For me, there's a simple rule in politics. Never, ever be surprised by what happens in politics.
The face of truth is open. The eyes of truth are bright. The lips of truth are ever closed. The head of truth is upright. The breast of truth stands forward. The gaze of truth is straight. Truth has neither fear nor doubt. Truth has patience to wait. The words of truth are touching. The voice of truth is deep. The law of truth is simple. All you sow, you reap. The soul of truth is flaming. The heart of truth is warm. The mind of truth is clear and firm through rain and storm. Facts are only its shadow. Truth stands above all sin. Great be the battle of life. Truth in the end shall win. The image of truth is the cross. Wisdom's message is its rod. The sign of truth is Christ, and the soul of truth is God. Life of truth is eternal. Immortal is its past. Power of truth shall endure. Truth shall hold to the last.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living room. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
Coming up on the broadcast, Castries Central MP and Housing Minister Richard Frederick has achieved the unexpected. All that and more during the course of our program today. And of course, I'll be hearing from you at 452-2979. 452-2979, your WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026. And Kimani will be going through some of your comments in the chat room. So one and all, welcome to another edition of NewsSpin right here on Power 97.9 FM. And no doubt we are also on YouTube and the NewsSpin Facebook page. Richard Frederick has achieved the unexpected. So let me take you back to 2011. And something of consequence occurred in St. Lucia. I think it was a Friday when Kami Joseph of HTS, if I can recall, broke that story. That government minister, Richard Frederick, had lost his visa. The Prime Minister then of the United Workers' Party administration was Stephenson King. And so throughout the weekend, this is what attracted the attention of all and sundry in St. Lucia and for St. Lucians living in the diaspora. Richard Frederick's visas, his personal visa, his diplomatic visa, those were revoked by the Americans. And the logical question, why? But preceding that action by the Americans, those of you who have been following the politics of St. Lucia for a while, and I'm sure you will remember then, in a run-up to the 2006 general election, what was being peddled about Richard Frederick when he was about to contest the by-election of 2006, March of that year. And even I believe Sir John Compton had his doubts, because you can recall the United Workers' Party, particularly Sir John Compton, was not interested in endorsing Richard Frederick in that Castries Central by-election. But when he won, something changed. He was brought into the cabinet, and subsequently you have a general election of that same 2006, and he was brought into the government. So John Compton passed away in September of 2007. Let us listen to the then leader of the opposition, leader of the SLP, Dr. Kenny Anthony. A few weeks, maybe a few months later, a few weeks after the revelation that Richard Frederick had lost his visa. This is about 11 to 12 years ago. Dr. Kenny Anthony speaking during a public meeting of the St. Lucia Labour Party on the Castries market steps.
The Americans had to do for us what our own Prime Minister and our government should have done a long time ago. If any one of you tonight, standing here, believe that the cancellation of the visas of Richard Frederick, his personal visa and his diplomatic visa, is the end of this matter, you better think twice.
So the impression has been given that there was more to come. I mean, people went as far as to say then, particularly supporters of the St. Lucia Labour Party, let's be more direct, people, supporters, operatives of the St. Lucia Labour Party said then, and they predicted, they anticipated that the Americans would be coming in, the feds would be coming in, to arrest Richard Frederick. And that was not the end. He having lost his visas, personal visa and diplomatic visa, that's not the end. Because somehow he had done certain things that definitely warranted the Americans arresting him. And maybe what he did, the perception and claims were, offended the Americans or broke or is in contravention with American laws. Well, today, the 12th of September, during the interregnum between that period and now, Richard Frederick was never arrested by the Americans. But what we know for a fact is that the St. Lucia Labour Party as an entity, its supporters, operatives, leaders, certainly did a fine job in besmirching the character and sullying the reputation of Richard Frederick. The United Workers' Party and its leadership and supporters and operatives, etc., are not responsible for that. All the dirty job was done by the St. Lucia Labour Party and people associated with it. And they wanted his neck because he had been a thorn in the side of the SLP from the time he announced his candidacy in 2006 and even a little before that. Firebrand politician, taking the fight, in particular to Dr. Kenny Anthony. So it came as a surprise. It would have come as a surprise to many people, although that same Dr. Kenny Anthony said, never ever be surprised by what happens in politics. Never ever be surprised by what happens in politics. Well, just prior to the last general election of 2021, you saw Richard Frederick and Kenny Anthony hugging each other. There seemed to be some kind of reluctance. One could have, just watching the body language, reluctance on the part of Dr. Kenny Anthony to give him a full embrace. There are people who can read you based on your body movement and your motions and your behavior, etc. So I'm playing that role right now. So it was on September the 1st when most of you would have heard Richard Frederick calling the standing host of his program, Shelton Daniel. He had landed in New York. Many of you would have been surprised, the same way many would have been surprised that 1 year before that, he went to the United States, and that is, according to the Speaker of the House then, to deliver an address at the UN General Assembly on behalf of CARICOM. And there is this brief exchange between Mr. Frederick and the host of the program, Shelton Daniel. This is how it transpired on September. It was not September the 1st, but we played it on September 1st, but the exchange would have occurred 1 day prior.
Are you able to tell us, because I have declared on the program that your U.S. visa has been restored to you?
Yes, it has.
Okay.
With longevity, but
Are you able to tell us, because I have declared on the program that your U.S. visa has been restored to you?
Yes, it has.
Okay.
With longevity, but we'll talk about that.
So, we'll talk about that right now. Because the Prime Minister of St. Lucia, speaking with reporters ahead of the sitting of a meeting of the House of Assembly today, a question was posed to him regarding the reinstatement of Mr. Frederick's visa. And this is his response.
In fact, what? I never understand why a government minister who gets a visa to go to the United States for 5 years, a diplomatic visa, can be such. It baffles me. First of all, Richard Frederick went on a holiday. Richard Frederick did not go on government business. He went on holiday, he paid his money, he used his credit card, and he went to holiday. What he went to do, I do not know. He didn't tell me. What I'm going to tell you for, he went on holiday. So all those who said he went on government business, as usual, saying what he wants.
But
But I know you're very disturbed because you believed your own propaganda that his visa was taken away from him and he never get it. But I never commented on that. But I can tell you now, he has a visa for 5 years. Yeah. So all those who commented, all those who made stories about it, they are the ones who answer now. I don't get involved in these things, no matter how hard you try to get me involved.
So the Prime Minister there, what we call it again? Not being as straightforward with the people of this country. Terminological inexactitude, we call that. He chuckles, and he says, I never understand how a government minister, getting his visa and traveling to the United States on holiday for 5 years, and he goes on to say, as if we expect him, Richard Frederick, to use the government's credit card. He says he uses his credit card, etc., etc. Subterfuge, you call that? Subterfuge. Because the people of this country are not mad or crazy or just so inquisitive. You want to know about a government minister traveling to the United States or New York on vacation and, you just want to find out everything about that person. No. The backstory. It is what transpired in 2011. And who were the people behind it? That's why people are so interested in this. People want to know because do not forget, it's well publicized, Mr. Frederick hired a high-powered U.S. attorney or attorneys a few years ago in the hope of having his visa reinstated. And that failed. So now he has gotten it. We can't just say, let's move on. People will be curious, and rightly so, because that is a government minister, that is a public official, and asking the question, how did he get the visa? So I would have asked the Prime Minister a couple questions. Yes, sir, Mr. Richard Frederick has gotten the visa for 5 years, a diplomatic visa. Walk us through the process. How did he get the visa? And if he does not answer, I'll still want to find out whether there was some kind of the process involved intervention, the involvement of the Ministry of National Security, whether it involved the Ministry of External Affairs, discussions between he as the Prime Minister, National Security Minister, and the Americans. What was said, because, I wish I could be the fly on the wall, because I don't believe that the Americans just, on their own volition, without any other involvement of any parties, etc., or just a discussion with Mr. Frederick, decided to reinstate the visa, because the Americans, as far as I'm aware, were adamant, despite his many efforts in holding on to its position, that they will not reinstate the visa. Most of us know that. So there are questions to be answered by the government of St. Lucia as far as this is concerned. If the government and if the Prime Minister does not want to answer questions from reporters on this issue, then he needs to address it directly to the people of St. Lucia who would have questions, who are curious, because something must have happened in their name. Mr. Richard Frederick also addressed that issue this morning in a statement to reporters.
When you see you have persons, the naysayers, spreading rumors, spreading propaganda, spreading mis and disinformation, they must understand that people and persons are listening. You have a situation where United PAC and the Zelevs, so to speak, were saying a lot of stuff and were literally begging the embassy to listen. They were begging the embassy, tag the embassy, tag the embassy. We want the embassy to listen. Well, I'm not sure, but I believe the embassy listened. Because for the embassy to be drawn into what is clearly a political situation, knowing that what they were saying are untruths, the embassy sure was probably listening. Because of the embassy to have heard an ex-prime minister in our most august chamber in Parliament said that I had a 3-day visa, which is so far from the truth, the embassy was listening. For the embassy to have heard one of his Zelevs saying that she dares me to take him before the Privileges Committee because I had a 3-day visa, the embassy was listening. To say that the embassy wrote the government of St. Lucia and were pissed off, to use her words, the embassy was listening. To say that the embassy said, never, ever, ever apply for a visa for Richard Frederick again, the embassy was listening. So the embassy asked themselves, which embassy you were referring to, because all of these were lies. And so the embassy realized that they were beginning to become embroiled unwittingly in the politics of this country with loads and loads of untruths. And it was them we were calling on the embassy to listen. I pride myself on speaking the truth at all times. And if they learn that, they will understand that the trap they set for me, they are actually assisting in my liberation.
Housing Minister and Castries Central MP Richard Frederick speaking to reporters earlier today. Let us congratulate the Castries Central MP. Why you think a congratulation is in order? The same individuals who caused you, Mr. MP, Mr. Minister, to lose your visa in 2011. Those are the same people who had to work behind the scenes to ensure that you got your visa reinstated, your diplomatic visa. And in the words of Professor Hilary Beckles, what a shot. Pure class. You have outwitted the St. Lucia Labour Party. And you have won them handsomely because you have achieved the unexpected. And your visa was not reinstated during the reign of a United Workers' Party administration, but reinstated during the reign of a government of the St. Lucia Labour Party. So congratulations are in order to you. They are the ones who caused you to lose your visa, and they are also the ones who caused you to have the visa reinstated. We'd love to hear from you right now at 452-2979, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026. Good afternoon to you, Kimani.
Good afternoon, Tim. What is happening in the chat room? Someone says, what a way to take revenge on your enemies than inside the camp. Well done, RF. Another comment, SLP did the whole nastiness, so it's them that has to help him regain the visa. Another comment, but I've never seen somebody fight so hard to come on holidays to a country that rejected him, as if that's an act of embarrassment to me. And someone commented on this comment saying, I have been thinking the same. What is in the US that generates so much interest? Another comment in the chat room, someone claims he has a diplomatic visa. What happens after he leaves office? What conditions are attached to the visa? Someone is asking, when was the visa issued? I do not believe he had it then. Someone says, seeing is believing, so unless they don't see the visa, they won't be believing that he has it. Another comment, it's a diplomatic visa. Let's not get confused. What are the conditions attached to it? Let's see in the chat room. Tim, as far as I'm concerned, this is a non-issue. The Labour Party was responsible for him losing his visa, and they now have assisted in him getting it back. Good luck to all involved.
We have a WhatsApp call. Good afternoon. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air. Hello.
Good afternoon, St. Lucia. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, caller. Good afternoon.
What I want to say about this visa issue, Richard Frederick is a smart man. Richard knew he would never have gotten his visa back if he had to stay enemies with the St. Lucia Labour Party. Because what I don't understand, Tim, a set of people who dressed in 2011 election, they dressed Stevenson King as a woman. They called him all the nasty names. They were the ones crying out foul, saying that a man without a diplomatic visa cannot be in government. He cannot have nothing to do with St. Lucia politics. When the United Workers' Party were the ones there, when Richard would cry on their shoulder, Flobo was not the ones behind taking your visa, revoking your visa. But today, the same Labour Party people who made a song, you know, they had Invader make a song about cannot go to New York, taking the visa. They are the most angry people today when a United Workers' Party will talk about the visa. But you see, Richard is so smart. This man played the St. Lucia Labour Party. Hey, the only way I can get back to the United States is on a diplomatic visa. So why don't I play the cards? The same people who are responsible for them taking away this visa, their joke is not on United Workers' Party. This is why I am asking the United Workers' Party supporters, stop talking about this visa. You know why? Because the St. Lucia Labour Party, they are ashamed. Today, they are ashamed to hop on a plane, go and try to make a man lose his visas. And today, the same shameless Philip J. Pierre, Kenny Anthony, they are the ones that had to hop back on the plane and go and cry for the embassy. Please reinstate it. We lied. We misunderstood what was going on. Please, and today the same shameless SLP are the ones who want to give us MEPWI if we speak about it. Flabos, stay away from that visa issue. Let us not talk about Richard and that visa. Let the Labour Party come and explain. St. Lucians, have a great day. I want to ask you all to brace yourself because things are not going to get better under Philip J. Pierre. Have a great afternoon.
All right,
try
sir.
your best. Continue praying.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for calling. Let's see if we have another call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Good afternoon, Tim.
Hi. Good afternoon to you, ma'am.
How are you?
I'm okay. How about you?
Oh, I'm there holding on, Tim. Tim, I have always said that Richard Frederick is one of the smartest politicians in the whole of the Caribbean. You hear what I'm telling you?
Mm-hmm.
There's no other to beat him, and we have to accept that. Because Richard Frederick, when he wants something, by any means necessary, he will get it. You hear me? And Richard Frederick, I don't care, I'm saying it louder, Richard Frederick played the Labour Party. Because Richard Frederick knew by going in the bosom of the Labour Party, he would have them under his control and he would get whatever he wanted. And I am not surprised that Richard Frederick got back his diplomatic visa. Because the same people who went to the embassy, he's in bed with them now. That is how smart the man is. The man knows how to get his enemies in his bed. You understand? So we have to praise that man. We cannot criticize that man. The man is a smart man. And we don't have another politician like that in the Caribbean. You hear me? And we don't have to be surprised at anything to do with Richard Frederick. You hear me, Tim? Anything to do with Richard Frederick cannot be surprised. Because Richard Frederick has a mind that no other politician in the Caribbean has, Tim. And this is all I have to say. And you know what? The man getting back his diplomatic visa is no big deal. Let's not make a big deal out of it. You understand? His visa, like the Prime Minister, he pays money, he uses his credit card. Let him go and have fun. He couldn't go there for how many years? So let the man have fun. Let's not make that an issue. Okay? I'm happy for him. He can go back to New York now. He can go and see his family, have fun. Like Invader said, he will not go in the dashing in the labo again. He'll be able to go in the, how they calling it? In the snow, go by bobbies, do your usual what he used to do. You understand? So let's be happy for the man, team. You stay safe, team. Bye.
You too, ma'am. Thank you so much. We have another call. Good afternoon. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Yes, good afternoon, Tim.
Yes, ma'am.
Why you WPs are so gullible? What make you all believe that this gentleman really got that visa reinstated? He got a visa reinstated, and he did not let you all know he lived in secret like a crab, came back like a crab. Yet you're making a fuss about...
No, but the prime minister confirmed that he has a 5-year diplomatic visa. He has a diplomatic visa for 5 years.
But a diplomatic visa is not a visa.
It's not a visa?
Just a moment in time.
It's not a visa?
As an ordinary person, you get a visa for a day, then you can stay in America.
But it is not a personal visa, caller, but he has a diplomatic visa as a government minister.
But what is the issue with a diplomatic visa? To me, I would not even recognize that. To me, if I were the UWP people, stop talking about nonsense. To me, that is really nonsense. That's not even a visa. It's like you invite me to a party. When the party's over, you got to go home.
All right, ma'am. Thank you so much. 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, 716-2026. Kimani, what's happening in the chat room?
Someone says, let's hope he is able to maneuver the new technology at the U.S. airports. Another comment, unless we haven't seen the visa, treat it as hearsay. Someone says, so wait a minute, RF is upset with the UWP about him getting back his diplomatic visa, but completely ignores that it was the SLP that caused him to lose his visa. This man isn't fooling anyone. You played the SLP into helping you get back your visa, so just enjoy it. Someone says, thank you, Tim. I fail to see how that's an indictment against the UWP. It is very fitting that the same SLP that was responsible for him losing his visa just orchestrated his getting it back. I'm proud that Alan stood his ground, refused to be intimidated by Richard or be part of his shameful charade. Someone says, Invader will have to have a remix of his Christmas song this Christmas, LOL. Someone says, SLP helped RF get his visa back, so maybe there is hope for my $1,500. In the chat room, someone says, will Richard be sharing pics of his visa on his show like he used to waive documents before July 2021? Someone says, caller, a visa is a visa. Another comment, it's a visa. Anytime you can enter the United States on a visa, it is a visa.
But I think in the case of a diplomatic visa, the holder of such a visa would travel on official government business as a diplomat or government minister. 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, and that is 716-2026. Let me see there. I think I might have a few WhatsApp messages to go through right now. Just bear with me. But in the meantime, information. Alternative Security Services is offering a Get Hired. Please bear with me. We'll try to get this notice out in just a moment. I'll go through it in just a bit. But we have Alternative Services Limited as a security company, and they have a activity that is coming off. That's 14th to the 15th of September. Application and interview the same day. Get hired on the spot. Requirements: valid ID, must be aged 20 to 50, of sound mind and body, and must be able to read and write. And that activity is taking place at the Castries City Council Town Hall between 9 o'clock in the morning and 3 p.m. That is on September 14th and the 15th. And that is a special job fair taking place, and it's being hosted by no other than Alternative Security Services Limited. Application and interview the same day. Get hired on the spot. The 14th and 15th of September 2023 between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. More of your calls coming up on the broadcast. This is NewsSpin on Power 97.9 FM. We are also on YouTube and the NewsSpin Facebook page.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
There is only one option when they arrive. Our services will make the dead look alive. With Bouteille and Beaufort accessibility. Remember, we have the only private cemetery. No one can match our prices from coffins to corsage. Personalized service you get when Lazarus take charge. Quality service, no package to make your wallet bleed. Lazarus is your true friend in your time of need.
Lucilec averti ou pour point précaution durant saison cyclone ça là. Mi un petit commission qui kaywen de ou protéger la vie ou ek propriétaire ou. Kouye Lucilec avant ou trim et ben couper pied bois qui pouet ligne électrique. Veillez pour ligne courant électrique avant ou monter l'échelle. Fait assurer l'échelle, scaffold et bout d'outils ou ka servi, pas venir moins qui 10 pieds hors ligne courant électrique. Pas jamais servi appliance et ben outils qui ka servi courant électrique. Des war côté qui mouillé et ben en la pli. Ça c'était en commission hors Lucilec.
Treat yourself to KFC's new Genius menu. Get your choice of one-piece chicken, corn, and biscuit, or one-piece chicken, fries, and biscuit, or one-piece chicken, mac and cheese, and biscuit for just $11.50. Order now through WhatsApp at 484-0400
or visit our website kfcslu.com
or dine in at any one of our locations. Now that's a genius choice with unbeatable value. KFC, finger licking good.
For it and you got it. A quicker way to pay your bills online. It's fast, secure, and easy to use. No registration, no additional fees. Flow is now offering FastPay, an online service that allows you to settle your bills in less than 2 minutes. Need a receipt? FastPay will send it to your email immediately. Use FastPay now for convenience, safety, and efficiency at discoverflow.co/fastpay. Flow is keeping you connected.
Night Meds is your dependable neighborhood pharmacy. You'll notice that upon entry, you are greeted by caring professional staff, attentive to your every need. Your prescriptions are always treated with a high degree of confidentiality, and we pride ourselves on providing speedy, efficient service. We carry a wide array commonly requested over-the-counter products, and our prices are very competitive. We offer blood pressure testing, blood sugar, and cholesterol testing. We're open to fill your prescriptions Monday to Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Come visit Salu's gas station on the Miku Highway or call us at 572-6840 or WhatsApp 461-6840 for more information. Night Meds Pharmacy. We are your community med store.
Automotive Art is a place to start.
Automotive Art is now bigger and better with bargains galore. Automotive Art has expanded. With new exciting products and increased shopping comfort, we welcome you to visit. Celebrate with us and take advantage of our specials. New tires starting at $129, 25% off all tools and accessories, up to 75% off rims, BOGO specials, car care bundles, and other bargains galore. Automotive Art, bigger and better.
For the second annual Zouk a Blanc, presented to you by Project Chocolat, Saturday 30th September from 7 p.m. featuring St. Lucia's #1 band, DYP. The always exciting Ezra, the Fun Machine, and our finest DJ, Hollywood HP, and DJ Shocking. Savor an evening of elegance, souk, and old school rhythms in the heart of Soufrière at Project Chocolat. Secure your tickets for just $80. Grab yours at any sell outlets island-wide or at Mambo's Bar in Soufrière. Tickets are also available online. Zouk a Blanc, a touch of white, where island vibes and cuisine meets pure sophistication.
Admission $100 at the door.
You know, in fact, you know what? I never understand why a government minister who gets a visa to go to the United States for 5 years, a diplomatic visa, can be such. I mean, it baffles me. First of all, Richard Frederick went on a holiday. Richard Frederick did not go on government business. He went on holiday, he paid his money, he used his credit card, and he went to holiday. What he went to do, I do not know. He didn't tell me. What I'm going to tell you for, he went on holiday. So all those who said he went on government business, as usual, saying what they want.
But you know the.
But I know you're very disturbed because you believed your own propaganda that his visa was taken away from him and he never get it. But I never commented on that. But I can tell you now, he has a visa for 5 years. So all those who commented, all those who made stories about it, they are the ones who answer now. I don't get involved in these things, no matter how hard you try to get me involved.
Prime Minister, National Security Minister Philip J. Pierre. So he's actually accusing the reporter of being disturbed because the Castries Central MP got his diplomatic visa. Somebody's asking there, what is a U.S. diplomatic visa? And the response, diplomats and other foreign government officials traveling to the United States to engage solely in official duties or activities on behalf of their national government must obtain A-1 or A-2 visas prior to entering the United States. They cannot travel using visitor visas or under the visa waiver program. 452-2979, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. We have a call online. Good afternoon. You are on the air.
Good afternoon, Tim. How are you?
I'm okay, Connor. Good afternoon to you. Hello? Yes, caller. Go ahead. Okay, we have a little mix-up there. We'll try to rectify that. So please bear with us while we are continuing to await your calls once again at 452-2979. Are you still there, caller?
Good afternoon, Mr. Tim.
Yes, go ahead, caller.
And how are you, Mr. Tim? You all right?
Yeah, caller, we're trying to get we are trying to get another call because we had a mix-up. All right, so you'll have to call back, sir. All right. 452-2979. WhatsApp calls or messages 716-2026. What's happening in the chat room, Kimani? Anything to report there?
Someone says, Invader, you'll have to rewrite this Christmas because y'all that see the man will never dash through the snow. Someone says, not sure if it's been announced already, but somebody please tell me what's going on with digital service. Another comment, the citizens have a right to know under what circumstances the visa was reinstated. A press conference should be called and all the pertinent questions regarding this visa asked. The public have a right to know these things. Tim, I'm confused. The PM said he didn't go on government business, so does the diplomatic visa apply to your personal business as well?
Let's see if we have a call on the air. This is NewsSpin. Good afternoon.
Hi, Timothy.
Hi, good afternoon to you, caller.
So, Tim, based on your definition for diplomatic visa.
All right, we definitely have a mix-up there. We'll try to see if we can rectify it. So please bear with us, and we'll have to hold off on the WhatsApp calls for now. But you can call at 452-2979, 452-2979. In the meantime, Kimani, any comments in the chat room?
Tim, what about the boy the police shot from Miku? Give us some information about that one, please. Someone says that diplomatic visa will be revised again before Christmas, and that is a fact. Someone says, Tim, if it truly is a diplomatic visa, which must only be used when he's on official business, the PM already said that the minister went on vacation using his credit card and funds. I wonder what the truth is. Another comment in the chat room, someone says, how can the PM say that Richard's travel to the USA is not on state business, but he is using a diplomatic visa? Another comment, someone says, PJP should be ashamed to be speaking publicly about the reinstatement of RF's visa, considering that it was the SLP that caused his visa to be revoked in the first place. Someone else in the chat room says, let's see, where's the media? I want to hear what KDA and GDA have to say on this matter.
Okay, we have a call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You on the air?
Hi, Tim.
Yes, good afternoon to you, caller.
Listen to your definition for the diplomatic visa. Yes, it's not a big issue, and I agree, St. Lucian, we shouldn't be touching it. But based on what you described in your definition, and the Prime Minister saying that it was a diplomatic visa, St. Lucians must realize they give all types of visas. And the lady who called and said, a diplomatic visa is not a visa. Lady, do your research. Go online. Find the definitions. So Richard Frederick, based on that description, he was on vacation. vacation visas are visitors' visa. So if it was a government business he was handling during the time he was there, he just faltered the terms of his visa because it was given to him only for government business. And he did say he paid his own ticket, he did his own thing. Maybe he has a visitor's visa that they are not saying. But the diplomatic visa is only used for government business. So Richard Frederick and Pete, before they come and talk, do their homework. Because a diplomatic visa is only for government business. You have a visitor's visa, you can come up anytime, do your shopping, and choose to stay if you want to stay. That's my contribution.
All right, ma'am. Thank you so much for sharing it with us. 452-2979, 452-2979. And we also have your comments to go through in the chat room, and we'll try to rectify some problem regarding the WhatsApp line. So bear with us. We'll try to get to the WhatsApp calls and messages in just a moment. But in the meantime, 452-2979, 452-2979. Any comments in the chat room, Kimani?
Someone says someone needs to take this PJP clip and head to the embassy. Another comment, someone says, let's see. Oh, wait, that's it in the chat room, Tim.
All right, thank you so much. But let us hear again from this time from Mr. Richard Frederick, in case you missed it. We'll be hearing from him in just a moment, but we have a call coming in. Let's take that call. Hello, good afternoon, you're on the air.
Tim, I listened to the Prime Minister and Richard Frederick, and I was trying not to chime in on the visa issue because it's a non-entity. I'm actually glad Richard Frederick got his diplomatic visa back, not for his sake, but the sake of St. Lucia, because things like that count against your country. It's a black mark against your country that you have a minister who is unsavory and stuff like that. So if somebody is elected, like you always say, the day after election, I think I remember you saying that the day after election, we have a government or whatever, that's our government, whether we voted for them or not, that's our government. We want all our ministers to have all the rights and privileges that they're entitled to do their job. So, having said that, the Prime Minister treats people of St. Lucia with such disdain, like he doesn't owe us an explanation. I listened to Richard Frederick as well, and he said people were spreading rumors about him, spreading propaganda and all kinds of stuff like that. That's not what people are asking, though. And they get on as if they don't have to account to us. They don't have to tell us anything. And every time a reporter asks a question, the Prime Minister is upset and agé, and people say, people. No. You were employed by the people of St. Lucia. Richard's supposed to say how he got the visa, the circumstances, what process happened, and what length of time it's for. In other civilized societies, in other places that are not semi-authoritarian like St. Lucia is, a paper would have had that visa and put it on the front page. In the interest of transparency, if a diplomatic visa is given to somebody, it actually belongs. They got it because of St. Lucia. It actually belongs to the state.
Yeah.
When we traveled on official business, when I worked for the United States, at all three levels of government that I worked, in Canada, the same thing, we were given, some had an official passport, some had a diplomatic passport, but we always had to maintain, it was a requirement that we have to maintain our own passports, our personal passports. You must have that. And if you are going away on official business, I'm taking the governor away or whatever and stuff like that, you use official diplomatic passports. If once you're there, you decide to stay a little longer, which we did sometimes in Singapore, Chile, Argentina, South Africa, wherever, 3-4 days, you can still come back on your diplomatic passport because you traveled on an official trip and you extended it. But if we get up leaving the United States and going to Brussels or going to see family in France and stuff like that, we can take the diplomatic passport with us, but we cannot travel. We're not supposed to travel on it because that is personal business, And we were given the protocol for that. There's a protocol book telling you what circumstances and when you can and cannot use or should or shouldn't use your passport. Do we always follow the rules? Sometimes it was easier to get in certain places with the diplomatic passport. You used it, but you know you're not supposed to. So having the Prime Minister say he has a diplomatic passport and visa for 5 years, but he went on personal business. At the moment I heard that, I cringed and I said, does the Prime Minister even know what he's saying? That's a situation where he should shut up because he's not supposed to He can conduct personal business while he's there, but to leave on a diplomatic passport, a diplomatic visa to go on your personal business, I'm not saying you can't because he did, but you should not. And Richard Frederick, instead of taking issue with, they put up smoke screens and they try to mama guide people and try to change the issue or change the topic. The issue isn't what was said about him before and rumors, because they were not rumors. You didn't have a visa. And the SLP was instrumental in you using your visa. It's not rumors. It's not propaganda. It was the truth. You yourself admitted it on your show that you went ahead and tried to get your visa, and your daughter wrote and all kinds of stuff. So it wasn't propaganda. It's the truth. Now that you get the visa, be transparent with people, the people who employ you, the people of St. Lucia, and tell them the truth on what transpired. Don't try to make it about people who don't like you and people spreading propaganda and hatred and this party and that party and stuff like that. The government of St. Lucia, we've allowed them to get away for more than 2 years with keeping everything from us. We don't know what's in the deals for the port. We don't know what's in this deal. We don't know what's in this paper. We don't know anything. Everything is being done under the table, and they come and tell us we're being transparent. If they want to say anything about the visa, it's not to fight with reporters like the Prime Minister does. It's not to call people in propaganda. It's not to make it look like the SLP or UWP or any party was happy. It's to tell us the truth, what happened, how you got it back, and be honest and transparent like you said you will be. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you so much for calling, sir. 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026, 716-2026. All right, I think we have a call via WhatsApp. Let's see if this call will go through. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air. Yes, good afternoon to you, caller.
I don't want to know whether Richard Frederick have a visa. That's not my business. What I want to know is that I heard about diplomatic visa, but I'm not hearing nothing about personal visa.
I'm listening to you.
I'm not hearing that he have. I said I'm not hearing that he have a personal visa as well.
Okay, why are you interested in that?
No, but to have the diplomatic visa, you must have a personal visa as well.
No, not necessarily. No.
Not necessarily?
No.
Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay. Thank you so much for calling, sir. All right. Let me see. I think we have another call line. Good afternoon. You are on the air. Good afternoon. All right. We lost that call. Let's see if we have a WhatsApp message.
You aren't supposed to have a visa to be able to get a diplomatic visa? I thought you did.
No, because the diplomatic visa as a diplomat or government minister is to go to travel and to conduct official business on behalf of, let's say, the government of St. Lucia, right? So your personal visa is to go on vacation and, personal matters and so on, because the caller before the last did explain that he has traveled to many parts of the world working for the federal government, local government, etc., whether in the U.S. or Canada, and he had 2 passports, right? He had 2 visas, diplomatic and also personal visa. But there are occasions when he would use the diplomatic visa to conduct personal business. It is not something that you should do, but it's kind of allowed.
So then that means he has a personal visa and a diplomatic visa then?
No. I based on what the Prime Minister said, I must assume, and I'm assuming there, that he has only a diplomatic visa for 5 years and not a personal visa.
Because he said that he went on vacation. But then, like you said,
But he never said that Mr. Frederick has a personal visa. He did stress he has a diplomatic visa. I think if he had a personal visa, I'm sure the Prime Minister would have said he got his visas back.
Okay.
So, I don't...
Can we even expect that of the Prime Minister?
How big a pun?
To actually say that. Can we expect that of him?
To say that
he would have visas. I think he would just, I guess with his track record, he would just say he got his visa back.
Well, reporters on the scene should have asked that question, whether he has a personal visa as well. And as I said at the commencement of this broadcast, I also would have asked how he got his diplomatic visa back. Because remember, the visas were taken away from him in very controversial circumstances. So he got it back. And people want to give the impression, especially some of the comments I'm reading in the chat room, it's not as if it's not a big deal. It's a big deal because he lost it in 2011. And there's talk of him getting it back in 2023. You need to find out the backstory. I mean, how did he get it? What transpired? What's the nature of the discussions? If the discussions occurred between himself and the Americans, or it also involved the government of St. Lucia. All right, let's turn our attention to the calls. Hello, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yeah, Tim, how you doing?
I'm okay, caller. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad.
Mm-hmm.
Tim, I just want to ask one question in general. I would like somebody to do some research on, every time you hear somebody say, oh, that guy is smart, this guy is smart, that politician is smart, that teacher is smart, and so on, no matter what the person does. Is there a difference of being smart, should I say a difference, and being dirty? Like, to me, whenever somebody does something and he's successful, people say, oh, that person is smart.
Well, I wouldn't use the word dirty, but I say things like being clever, intelligent, smart, and the other word I would use is cunning.
Which is a very deceitful thing. A way for somebody to be cunning. Is that correct?
Yeah, but there's nothing wrong in saying that somebody is smart, irrespective of the outcome of their actions.
Yes, I know, Tim. That's how we look at it. As long as somebody is successful, it can be in whatever manner. We always come out and say that person is smart. I wouldn't agree with that. I will do some research on the dictionary and so on.
So you're saying there are certain other words that you'd used?
Yeah.
Okay. Depending on the outcome of the actions.
Exactly, or the outcome of the business, or the outcome, like, if somebody is going to open a business and so on, somebody might go and open a business to do money laundering, drugs and so on, and he's successful in life.
But if somebody's in prison and they escape the walls of the prison, through the walls, like jumping the walls of the prison, etc., they're on the lam for, let's say, a few weeks, you wouldn't say that person is smart. Also, people would tell you that he has a very high IQ as well.
Yeah, but you say that person is smart, but in what word should I put there? But anyway, just do some research on that, and maybe call me personal or whatever.
Yeah.
I'll just like some research on that.
Okay, caller.
Okay?
All right. Thank you so much for calling. Let's see if we have a WhatsApp message. Somebody says, good day, just expressing my gratitude to our Rep, Kenson Casimir, for fixing the roads in Beauséjour Phase 1. Other reps on both sides promised but never did in over 14 years since I've been living in the area. I think we have a call via WhatsApp. Let's see if you can put it on the air. Good afternoon. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Hi, Tim. Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm okay, caller. How about you?
Good, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Tim, the issue with the visa, the gentleman that called earlier, the gentleman knew what he was talking about. And I find he explained it very well. However, Tim, based on the clip you played there, I think the Prime Minister has a big question to ask. To answer, sorry. He has to answer the fact that he mentioned that Richard Frederick went to the U.S. on vacation when he himself stated, and you can play the clip for the people, for your audience, because he himself stated that he got his diplomatic visa.
Right.
Now, a diplomatic visa is a A1, A2 visa. Now, these visas are only for government business. And the visa is not Richard Frederick visa. It is actually the state's visa. You understand?
Yeah.
Because you can only go do the affairs of the country with that visa. Now, when you're talking about a personal visa, you're talking about a B2 visa, which is a tourism visa. That's where you can go and for leisure or whatever. You understand? There is a serious concern now that the Prime Minister has opened his mouth. You know, the clip where Richard just said he got his visa and that was it. You know, there's nothing much you can say about it. But now that the Prime Minister has opened his mouth, he has made it even more damning than it was. Because now he has a lot of questions to answer, Tim.
Well, I think the first question, before he answers the whatever questions that you might want to pose to him, what the question we should pose to the Prime Minister and by extension Richard Frederick is whether he got his personal visa reinstated.
Now, you can also ask that. However, Tim, I will tell you that he didn't, because I know if we look at the track record of the two gentlemen in question, we all know how.
No, God, I'm not going on track record. I don't go on track record.
Okay.
I would just
that's
ask
you. Well, that's me.
No,
that's me, Tim.
No, to simplify it, I think your method would complicate the issue. I'd simply ask the question whether he has his personal visa reinstated or not. That's all, and then you take it from there.
I agree. I agree. But also, Tim, there is another issue there, because the Prime Minister stating that Richard Frederick paid his ticket and went on vacation. However, why did he go at the same time there was that meeting, that UN meeting?
Irrelevant detail. I don't think that should signify or imply anything. No.
Okay.
Remember this time
Yes.
around, we did not receive any news from the government, either through the speaker or anyone, indicating that Mr. Frederick traveled to the U.S. so that he could attend a meeting of the United Nations, right? Or the UN General Assembly. That was never stated.
Agreed.
Right. So
Agreed.
maybe some people in St. Lucia made the assumption that he went to the U.S. to participate in the meetings of the UN General Assembly, when that is not the case, based on what the Prime Minister said.
That is correct. Now, let me tell you, there was also, if you look at certain videos that was circulating on social media, there was also functions held in New York at that time because it was Labor Day.
Right.
However, this government is very cunning. Tim. They know how to manipulate people and the system. You know, they can use that as to say that the man went there for that, or he can say he's going there for that, claiming it's government business when it's not. You understand? Now, that's why I'm saying it is just by what the Prime Minister said, he's making it even more difficult for me to even believe the gentleman got his
diplomatic
his B2 visa. His B2 visa.
Right.
No, he can't get the diplomatic visa. Like I tell you, the diplomatic visa, Tim, it's not his visa. It's the state visa. So that's something where if they write a good letter to the government in the U.S. stating that, you know, they need this gentleman for whatever reason, he may get that diplomatic visa. You understand? However, to get the B2 visa, which is his personal visa, it's totally different, because they cannot go on his behalf for him to get that visa. He needs to represent himself. So you see the difference there. Yeah, so that's why I'm saying that. But we need answers on that issue, Tim. And I'm glad you raised it. Thank you very much. Have a good day, Tim.
All right, you too. Thank you so much for calling. Let's take another call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air. Hello. Hi, good afternoon to you, caller. All right. Suspect we have a mix-up there again. All right, what we'll do, we'll take a break. The broadcast will continue in just a moment with more of your calls and your WhatsApp messages. Do not forget that there is this job fair that is taking place the 14th and 15th of this month between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. at the Castries City Council Town Hall. And it is being undertaken by Alternative Security Services. You must walk with your valid ID, age 20 to 50, of sound mind and body, and must be able to read and right. So Alternative Security Services looking for security guards, and they'll be undertaking an application and interview the same day. Get hired on the spot, September the 14th and the 15th, 9 a.m. until 3 p.m., and that is at the Castries City Council Town Hall. Requirements: valid ID, walk with your valid ID, and you must be 20 to 50 years old, of sound mind and body, and must be able to read and write. More of your comments via the discussion on the Facebook page, as well as your calls at 452-2979, and WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026.
Lazarus's Funeral Home is here for you. Lazarus's Private Cemetery offers a peaceful resting place for your loved ones. With tranquil settings, visitation, and reflection, we believe in the compassionate care of all our departed loved ones. Lazarus's Private Cemetery, let us help you create a final resting place. Make it special. Make it Lazarus's Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Payment plans are available for tombs. Call us in Vidbute at 452-7491 or in New Dock Road, VA4, 454-6555.
Introducing the new LuSelect Virtual Service Desk, where one click is your access to every service. From My Account to Streetlight reports, requests for payment arrangements to settle arrears, change of name and address. Easy online forms give you access from anywhere and at any time. Every service you need at your fingertips. Go to our website, luselect.com, and click on the Virtual Service Desk widget. LuSelect's Virtual Service Desk. Every solution at your fingertips.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
Why pay full price for your mobile when you can pay half? Just bundle your home internet and mobile services with Flow and save 50% on your mobile bill. That's money in your pocket every month. Plus, now you get free YouTube and WhatsApp data. And you can share your plan with up to 3 other numbers. Upgrade now and get a free smartphone. Switch and keep your number. Learn more at discoverflow.co.
Treat yourself to KFC's new Genius Menu. Get your choice of one-piece chicken, corn, and biscuit, or one-piece chicken, fries, and biscuit, or one-piece chicken, mac and cheese, and biscuit for just $11.50. Order now through WhatsApp at 484-0400
or visit our website kfcslu.com
or dine in at any one of our locations. Now that's a genius choice with unbeatable value. KFC, finger licking good.
The new home of the best country music is Power 97.9 FM.
Say the stars are bound to fade.
Switch us on Join Me, DJ Jerry, this and every Thursday from 8 p.m. to midnight for Country Gold, the best in country music.
Your bags are packed and waiting.
The new, the oldies, and the goldies. So let's make it a date. This and every Thursday with me, DJ Jerry, from 8 p.m. till midnight for Country Gold. If it's Thursday, it's Country Gold Thursday. Country Gold, only on Power 97.9 FM.
I lead a rich, rewarding life.
Automotive art is a place to start. Automotive art is a place to start.
Yeah, look, check. We got a wide range of products that are automotive and do-it-yourself supplies if you got a moment. Smart staff that'll always know it. Got rims and tires from trucks to high performance to off-roading. Start hair tools, batteries, oil, and car care.
After a 3-year hiatus due to restrictions of COVID-19, the Sufra Fitness Center presents Fun Strikes 2023, our annual fan, health and fitness walk for the entire family. On Monday, October 2nd, starting at 5 a.m., we walk from the Sufra waterfront to Myers Bridge through Force Jack and back down to the Sufra Beach Park. Of course, the music motivation truck will keep you going and going. A $35 registration gives you a quality drip-fit t-shirt, drinks, fruits, fresh coconuts, breakfast, and a chance to win big. What are you waiting for? Register, stat, and finish to win over $10,000 worth of cash and raffle prizes. Register at the Sufra Fitness Center and other pop-up locations. Bring the entire family. Fun Strides 2023.
Continue with your calls at 452-2979, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. What's happening in the chat room? Kimani, any comments there to report on?
Someone says, why don't you go to press conferences and ask these questions when the government has press conferences? Another comment, if Richard traveled on his diplomatic visa for leisure reasons, isn't that a breach? Another comment well said, caller, the bigger issue is his personal visas. Someone says, it's time we join BRICS. Tim, if it is truly a diplomatic visa, which must only be used when he's on official business, the PM already said the minister went on vacation using his credit card and funds. I wonder what the truth is. I think I read this comment already. Another comment in the chat room. Let's see. Again, someone says, I believe that government should hold a press conference so these questions could be answered. That is about it in the chat room.
We have a call. Good afternoon. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Tim.
Hi, good afternoon to you, Rick.
By more and more, yesterday I think I called you about Woods Matter as well.
Yeah.
We have in St. Lucia, the most educated among us use words that have a St. Lucian context only. One of them is the way we use the word pride, you know? And to cut a long story short, you just had another example of it. A lady called, she sounded quite agitated, if I may say that, and she referred to Richard Frederick as smart, even about the smartest politician in the Caribbean.
Yes.
Now, consider everything. I'm being very careful, understand? Because I'm getting inside the ladies' heads. I'm being very careful. If you know the meaning and the nuance and the shades of the word smart, there's nothing in that word to convey something bad character, or nothing in there.
None of that.
So the person who called you was right, the man.
Yeah.
Now, nothing that the lady said suggests great intelligence, perspicacity, wisdom, nothing in that, he said.
No. I think, it's left to you, our interpretation. How we interpret it.
I'm trying to be precise.
No. Trying to interpret what she meant when she said smart. So I think in that context, I'm trying to get into her head as well.
Tim, we don't have to do that.
No, because you're doing it. I'm doing it as well, Rick. I'm just saying to you.
I'm not.
From her perspective, I think what she meant is somebody of great intelligence who has his way, who gets what he wants. Continue.
I think you better play that again. But anyway, in any event, smart, the words that go with smart, are things like, let me just try to find it, smart, clever.
Quick-witted intelligence.
Tim, just be patient with me, all right? Please. Just be astute, shrewd, savvy, subtle.
Book smart. Book smart. In terms of academic.
Not the word smart.
Intelligence, yeah.
Stem, whimsical, all that, humorous, funny, jocular, etc. And I'm thinking of the things that the lady said and implied And I don't find much of what she said coinciding with that with smart. But there's another word, Jim. There's another word that we mix up a lot with smart. And the word is clever.
Yeah.
Clever.
Mm-hmm.
And clever can be, it has this connotation of being cunning, guileful, shrewd, canny, crafty, artful, foxy, none of which are really flattering words.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to tell you what the lady meant to say, but since it became an issue there with your caller, the gentleman caller, I gave you the nuances of both smart and cunning. Okay.
Right.
Now, Tim, I'm writing my own article on this whole issue, as you might expect, because I was so involved with it from the very first day it broke. So I'm doing an article on it. But the statement by the Prime Minister, I suggest to you, you won't find in all the things that were said at the time of the initial problem with the visa.
In 2011.
2011.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of pretty nasty things were associated with the revocation of that visa by people like Kenny Anthony and others. There was even a situation where one of the MP's mother was sent back home because her visa had expired, and even that became an issue at the same time. So there was a lot of stuff. And how many years now since 2011?
12 years.
12 years. So, am I to put it another way? If I were to suggest that what has happened there is that the State Department has been investigating all the allegations over the years about Richard Frederick, especially those that he said himself, it's on record, he said lies had been told about him by certain people, including the then leader of the opposition and so on and so regarding his visa. Is it just possible that all those things that we have heard about Richard for the last 11 years, etc., we've heard them all, is it just remotely possible that the State Department has finally arrived at a conclusion that Richard Frederick, when he said he was framed by the Labour Party guys, and a couple of UWPs, by the way, don't forget that visit to the embassy, that famous visit to the embassy, remember that?
What was the nature of the visit? Why were they sent there?
Remember that Janine Compton and others went to the embassy, and she claimed that King had given her a letter of introduction, etc., and she went there to investigate Richard Frederick and Rufus Buski. Those were the details. That's on record.
Yes.
That's on record.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And the King admitted that he had given her a letter, yes, but it was not to investigate. Of course, none of us can say, but they spoke about that openly. I have articles on that, openly. So my thing to you is it remotely possible that when Richard Frederick said a group of people, especially in his resignation statement, a group of people got together, including some members of the UWP who didn't like him, to tell lies about him to the embassy, and that had resulted in the revocation of his visa? Is it possible that the State Department has now good reason to say Richard Frederick was indeed framed? Is that even remotely possible? Because we have no details. Huh?
It is possible, but I'm leaving the door open, the window open for other possibilities.
Well, exactly. That's what I'm saying to you, you know. We have heard from the gentlemen, Kenny Anthony, King, Stevenson King, all of them, even Rufus Bushkin, all of them have had their say, and Richard Frederick is on record as having said anything. But two things I have to say from day one. Richard Frederick insisted, I have done nothing wrong. I've done nothing wrong. Also, to this day, even the people who have said all the things about Richard Frederick have never put him before any kind of tribunal to officially declare him guilty of what they were saying, which was some pretty egregious things. You remember that?
Very much so.
Some pretty egregious things. So is it possible that the investigation over 11 years now agrees with Richard Frederick that he never did anything wrong and he never should have had his visa revoked in the first place? Like you say, there's room for that speculation, and there's room, depending where you stand, for other speculation. What should happen really is that the deck should be cleared on this, because it was such an issue in the 2011 elections and the following elections, and even now it is still an issue, right?
Because we are also, don't forget, Rick, and I stated that earlier on, we were put on notice by the then leader of the opposition, Dr. Kenny Anthony, that is not the end of the situation, the fact that Richard Frederick has lost his visas. And I played that clip earlier on. So he had put us on notice that the Americans possibly will not end there. There's more action to be taken by the Americans.
At the time, they were saying also, in fact, when it first broke, the word was he might not even be available for general elections. You remember that?
That was stated, yes.
Yep. I have them in front of me, the volumes of articles and whatnot. I have them. So I'm not even trusting my memory. I have them and the pictures and everything else. Okay? So, what the nation requires now, in the same way as the nation was wrapped up in the revocation, it became an election issue for 2 elections, etc. I think the nation is owed clarification, and let me also add.
But before you continue, that had so much of an impact on Richard and the outcome of the 2011 general election that he almost lost his seat, in 2011.
See, man, since we don't have much time, I'm not going into the details of the sufferings of this man, okay? If he is innocent of all the things he was accused of by those very important people, if it turns out he is innocent, then that is almost a kind of modern-day crucifixion. That's how bad what was being said about him. If it turns out not to be true. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If it turns out, and the only people who can tell us it's true or not are the Americans themselves, and they won't. Or the people who said the various things, including the Americans would never take a visa from a sitting minister of government on anything petty. Remember those words?
I can recall, yes.
Over all those things being said. So now, I wanted to say this. You will not find in all the things and all the people who talked about Richard Frederick and his visa, you will not find one word in relation to the visa from Philip J. Pierre. Okay? You will not find any word. I would be amazed if anybody can come up with a statement by Philip Pierre about that visa when it was going on. You with me?
I think then we heard from Dr. Anthony. We also heard from Jadia Jean-Pierre.
Yeah.
And we heard in particular from Mr. Tom Walcott.
How come you don't have a video of the Jadia Jean-Pierre?
I think I had a clip, and we might just be in a position to play that clip on the broadcast this afternoon.
So,
producer, can we get the clip? September the 1st clip of Jadia Jean-Pierre. Yeah, you're saying, Rick.
Somebody said earlier that, we should be happy for St. Lucia that Richard Frederick has had his diplomatic visa restored. And he said, because it means a black spot has been taken off St. Lucia's name. He's right, you know. He's right. Think about that. There was a black spot that we had a minister of government, so and so and so and so and so and so. So he's right. That is why it is super important to get a clarifying statement from the Prime Minister, or if Richard chooses to do so himself, a clarifying statement. But in the meantime, I am going to assume that everything that was said about the guy was, like he said in the first place, untrue. And that is why the Americans have returned his diplomatic visa. If that is true, Tim, I suggest we may owe Richard a national apology or reparations.
That's a bit of a stretch. But I'll also want to find out, Rick.
Why would it be a stretch?
No. Before that, I'd want to find out whether he got his personal visa as well.
I said clarification.
Okay.
But we need clarification. And that if Richard turns out everything he said in the first place turns out to be true, and that he went through those 11 years of persecution on falsehoods, and now has been cleared by the restoration of those visas. I'm being very careful. If all of that is established, to my mind, the man is in need of an apology from the government in the name of St. Lucia.
You're correct. Because Rick, any mere mortal could have committed suicide under such circumstances.
Now you're getting me. Imagine not being able to visit your kids overseas.
Not even that for me, but the embarrassment, the national embarrassment that you were subjected to.
Yeah, all of that. But I'm going on a more personal side. I am saying again, let me say, if it turns out that what Richard Frederick claimed from the very beginning, that he was framed by a number of people that he named, and if it turns out that the American government, after 11 years, agree with Richard Frederick that he was framed and restored his visa on that basis, then I think the government of St. Lucia, in the name of St. Lucia, owes Richard Frederick a public apology with explanation to the people.
That's a good way to end. Thank you so much, Rick. Appreciate it. Let us hear from J.D. Japierre. I think at the time would have been the PRO of the opposition St. Lucia Labour Party in 2011 at the height of the revocation of the visas of Richard Frederick.
The St. Lucia Labour Party believes that this is a matter of national concern, and in no way should its implications be trivialized as implied in statements made yesterday by the Honorable Prime Minister and other cabinet ministers, including Foreign Affairs Minister Rufus Buski and the government's chief legal officer, Attorney General Rudolph Doddy Francis. Whereas it may be true that personal visas may be frequently revoked by the U.S., this is certainly not true in the case of diplomatic visas held by respectable ministers of government.
J.D. Japierre, speaking in her capacity some 12 years ago as a spokesperson of the opposition Unite St. Lucia Labour Party. Now, we have a word of the day every day that I post on the NewsSpin Facebook page. And incidentally, that word of the day for today is Schadenfreude. Schadenfreude. This is how supporters of the St. Lucia Labour Party, the hierarchy of the St. Lucia Labour Party, would have felt at the time Richard Frederick lost his visas. So the definition: pleasure derived by someone from another person's misfortune. Pleasure derived by someone from another person's misfortune. And we conclude with our NewsSpin news of the day. Morocco's reluctance to accept quick aid baffles foreign governments. Morocco's reluctance to accept quick aid baffles foreign governments. And that earthquake occurring last Friday, just after 11 o'clock in the evening, claiming officially close to 3,000 lives. That's a broadcast. Thank you so much for watching on our NewsSpin Facebook page as well as YouTube. And thank you so much for listening on Power 97.9 FM. My name is Timothy Poleon. Goodbye.